Hello, brothers and sisters. We are back for part two of triangulation. Okay, so I was trying to really sit down and write out or draw out kind of get some type of structure to kind of lead my thoughts on what I really wanted to say about this particular side of triangulation. But I couldn't really find nothing, so I decided that I would use my own personal experience to give you guys a typical idea of what triangulation is. Okay, so in part one, we learned about the average triangulation, which is more between individual parties. Like it could be anybody, like a coworker, family members. Triangulation, okay, where we was dealing with just the spirit trying to divide or split up different people. And once again, I think the reason for the divide is because certain people or those particular people actually have insight or understanding into the situation that we're dealing with. So the spirit makes it a priority to separate us from anybody that whose opinion that we might actually value, maybe at the same level as theirs or a little over theirs. So like a mother, like I would say like your mother or father or your best friend or whatever. These is the people that the spirit try to get out the way by creating chaos and spreading rumors and backbiting and all of this stuff, okay? So this other side of triangulation that we're dealing with today is going to be the triangulation that these spirits use more towards the end of the relationship. I want to say that that's usually when this particular thing takes place, but it has happened earlier, before you get to the grand finale stage, which is another stage that we're gonna talk about. The grand finale stage is just when they leave. But I say the word grand finale because they like to make a big impact when they leave. They want to really do a number on you on their way out the door. And I believe that the reason that they try to do this is to have an effect on your future relationships or your future goals or ambitions or whatever. It's going to be affected by what they did. And I think almost, tell you the truth, I think that's the goal of it at the end of the day. I think the reason why these spirits come to you in specific, if you're wondering, is to steal or taint your natural gifts and your natural abilities or whatever. Like we talked about in Crazy Making, how they try to downplay your emotions and feelings, to change. I would say to change who you are as an original person. So, and I think we see this a lot of times. They actually they do it a lot to a lot of people. Meaning, before you get into this situation with these people, you are a completely different person. You might be real loving, you might be open, you might like to laugh, you might like to travel and things like that. At the end, by the time they get finished with you it's not gonna be a lot left of you to recognize. And I can say this personally too, because I noticed that after the grand finale, after the relationship finally ended and they did the little, they little grand finale, a lot of stuff that I had a passion for left when the relationship ended. So because I used to I used to do music a lot. I used to love to write music. I still do. Thank God that it's coming back to the point where I'm starting to get a passion for some of my older gifts that I was working on before I got entangled. But for about a year, I ain't had no passion for it no more. And like I said, I used to love music. So, I actually thought like, okay, this was gonna be my career. Of course, I was doing secular music and rap and all of that stuff. Okay, but it always had a big role in my life. And then when the relationship ended, I ain't had no passion for it no more. I couldn't write. A lot of things that I used to do, I just did not enjoy to do no more. And I think that's the goal. The goal is to change who you is. So a lot of people, because they get into these relationships with these entities, by the time they come out of it, they're not the same. And if the spirit can change you, then they accomplish their goal, because everything that you got that makes you who you is what the Lord has put in you to use to to draw more people closer to you or whatever. You go ahead. Yeah, so that's like what the Lord is using to draw people closer to you. So they try to eliminate a lot of those a lot of your talents or ambitions or goals or aspirations or something like that. Okay. So for instance, a lot of people that was open to love or open to being in love or open to relationships and open to building new situations with new people, okay? They changed that. So you got a lot of dudes, and not just dudes, but you got a lot of dudes, and then you got a lot of females, right? Who were completely different people. And now they at the point where they like, so before you get entangled with the spirit, you can be with one person. That might have been what you was looking for. Okay, I want to be with one person. I can settle down. Maybe you a female that's looking to get married. Maybe you a man that's looking to find you a wife. After all of the destruction and the chaos and the lying and the cheating and stuff that you go through during these particular stages, you come out of it with a different mindset. So your mindset is now, like a lot of brothers is you gonna dog them. Like the pain of the previous relationship that altered you so much to the point where now you see things completely different. This is a change though. I want you to understand how they changed you. And I'm one of them people, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna sit up here in front with you. I don't really trust people like that. It's something that I'm working on that I feel like I'm getting better on. But even the little relationship that I done tried to establish since that relationship ended, it never goes far because I'm too, I don't want to say, no, I won't use the word controlling. I would say that I'm too focused. I notice everything. Every little thing is noticeable to me. Any little lie, any little mistake is almost magnified now. So it's a lot tougher for anybody new to gain any space with me, for me to really trust somebody or open up to somebody. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's a lot harder because I don't trust nobody. So they kind of hinder you from moving on. And that's what you don't want. You don't want to get nobody that type of power over you, where it's been over for 2-3 years and you still so hurt over how they did you that you can't see yourself opening up to somebody else. Like, that's power. That's somebody still having control and power over you. Even though you might not be with them, they still controlling how you think and how you approach other people. And so even though they're not there, the emotional agony that they put you through is still playing a key role in you even living your own life. I'm telling you, it's definitely a process. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when everything ended with me, it was even little tiny stuff that my mind was just, it was messed up, that I felt like I can't even do this. Like, I remember when I first started looking for a different job, I had quit the factory job that I had, and I started looking for a new employment. And even riding around the city and filling out applications even made my head hurt, because it was like I just wasn't used to it. It's when you in a particular comfort zone for so long, it's gonna feel different when you outside of your comfort zone. You understand what I'm trying to say? When you used to the routine of the relationship or the particulars of the relationship being did in a certain way or presented in a certain way, when everything changes, it kind of leaves you boggled. Like, okay, where do I start? And that's kind of where I was. So, like I said, I really could not think of a real way to write down my thoughts on this particular subject. So I decided that I was going to just give my testimony. So here goes where triangulation started with me. Triangulation started with me around the end of the relationship too. Now, at this point, I was already out of the relationship somewhat. Of course, we still had to have our interactions with each other because we had children. But as far as like us, still dealing with each other sexually or talking about the relationship or anything like that was, we was almost about to the area we was done with that. So at this point, we was living in two separate places. Okay, we was still meeting up maybe once a week or whatever when I got paid or whatever, so I could get her money for the bills and things like that. Of course, because like I said, we still had children. So triangulation started weird with me because I had no idea that anything like that was going on. Of course, I had my assumptions because it was a part of our early relationship turmoil anyway, that it was just other people involved. Now, you get caught talking to this person or texting this person on the phone or whatever, okay? So triangulation was kind of a part of our relationship from the earlier parts of it, but it really didn't bother me like that, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it. It really wasn't, because it never really got as far as it did this time. So in this particular situation, okay, this is how everything happened. I was still going to work or whatever. I was still working at the factory at the time, and the mother of my children was still living down the street from where I was living at. Because, like I said, I had just moved out of there maybe like a month ago or something. I know it was getting close to the time it was getting cold or whatever. And I decided that it was too much going on. It had got to the point where she wanted to be physical a lot more than just our regular typical arguing. And then, like I said, we had children in the house, so it was just like, no, we can't do this no more. Like, I can't let my children see this or whatever. Even though I never fought her back physically or nothing like that, but just to have that image happening once a month or twice a month. And I got daughters too. My oldest daughter is old enough to understand exactly what was going on, and that really was that really played a huge part in me deciding, okay, that's it. That's it. It's not working. It's not worth it. But I've always been that type anyway. Like, if it got to get physical, it's over. Because I'm not going there with nobody. It's we too old for that. We too, what I'm saying. So anyway, so I'm living down the street, right? I'm living down the street a little bit farther down. I think I was like off 7 Mile. And she was still on 7 Mile, but she was like down the street, maybe 2-3 miles out of the way. Okay. Now I was told by her that she was moving from the original house that we had lived at for a couple years. So she said, okay, I'm leaving from there. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I tell you the truth, I didn't really think she was actually about to move at the time. So I didn't really take it too serious, So I went over there one day after work. I'm gonna tell you exactly how it happened. Matter of fact, it was random because like the way that I was getting home, of course I would always go past the old place that we stayed at, but I didn't really have to actually go into that area or anything like that. I had changed my whole transportation route because I was living a little further down now. So for whatever reason that day, I got off the bus a little early, and I decided to walk through and take a shortcut through our old apartments. At this point, it had been like months now, where now I was still in communication with her because she was still coming down there to pick up money or whatever. But as far as I knew, she was on the way, a long distance away, living with her mother. Okay, so I walked through the apartment complex and I seen a car. I seen her car, which was weird to me. Now, of course, she had a friend that lived upstairs where our children used to play together. So when I seen the car, that was my first thought, like, oh, she must be back over here, visiting her little friend or whatever. So I go closer to the car, just to make sure, because I wear glasses. So I'm like, okay, so I go closer to the car, look inside the car. I see okay, I'm gonna just be honest. I seen some real raggedy shoes, okay? I ain't trying to talk about this brother because I don't know this brother. I just seen some real beat up shoes. Maybe it was the brother work shoes or whatever, and some type of fitted hat or something like that. So when I'm looking in the car like, who stuff is this? And what really caught me was it was on the driver's side. Like, so whoever this person was, they wasn't a passenger in the car. They were turning down in the car or whatever. So when I seen this, my first thing that I did was, of course, I'm kind of trying to figure out what's going on. So I go upstairs. I went upstairs to the friend that we knew that, who our kids used to play together with. So when I got up there, the friend answered the door, and I said, hey, how you doing? I said, my baby mama in here. That's how I said it too. Look at my face. My baby mama in here. Okay, so that's how I said it. I'm like, my baby mama in here. So she said, I don't know. I don't want to be no part of that. That was her exact words. And if I remember specifically when she said that, she looked fearful, like she was scared of, I don't want to say her consequence for telling me what was going on, but like she was scared of me as a whole. Now, me and this sister, we ain't never had none but pleasant interactions and stuff like that. I'm typically not, it takes a lot to get me angry anyway or something, stuff like that. So I can't see why she would have such her countenance was full of fear. You could just tell that she was scared, which kind of threw me off. But now that I think about it, once again, it goes to that triangulation thing where you got the spirit controlling both sides. So I'm sure that she had went to her and talked to her and probably told her something about me, like, he crazy and such as something, whatever she said. But I'm sure something was said that caused her to feel that way. So I got heated because I figured somebody lying, because this car is sitting right here. So I went downstairs to the old apartment where we used to live, and and I'm looking in the windows or whatever. Wasn't nobody in there. So, like a kid, I grabbed the little rusty boots. I'm sorry, Lord. I grabbed the boots or whatever and all of that stuff. I grabbed that. There was some CDs and stuff in the car. I took that, threw that all out on the grass, threw some of it in the water. Kelly Price flying everywhere. Kelly and all of these little CDs or whatever. Because at that point, what I wanted was, explanation to what was going on, because at this point we had not been really separated for no more than maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe, like since I actually been in the house, sleeping in the bed and all of that. So you can imagine that this is kind of weird, because this was a 10-year relationship. So you would think, don't nobody move that fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, to the point where, cause like I said, this was 10 years, like as far as I knew. Now, of course, the spirit was always in 5 or 6 or 7 different relationships. This is just what they do. They always want to stay ahead of you, because eventually they know it's coming to an end. So I'm sure that whoever this brother was, they was dealing with each other probably either for a couple years now, or at least 6-7 months. This ain't no random dude. I was sure of that already. Long story short, nobody appeared. Nobody showed their face or whatever. So when I got back to where I was, I called her. And I was emotional. Cause I didn't understand how somebody could move that fast. Like, I don't so much think it was the fact that, she was dealing with another dude. I think it was just the rapid speed in which everything took place threw me off, because like I said, we had so many years under our belt that I couldn't see myself just moving that quickly. So it was bothering me. And I called her. She thought it was funny, because I remember on the phone I was emotional. I'm just trying to be honest with y'all. I mean, this was 10 years. So I remember her laughing about it. Like, what's wrong? Why you so, because I'm basically spewing my heart. Like, what is you doing? Like, what is you serious? Anyway, she thought it was funny. So we met up, and I gave her back the The church's chicken boots. I'm sorry, Lord. I'm sorry. I don't know this brother. I gave her back the boots and the head or whatever. And she came up with this whole story about, you know, how it was her cousin's dude, and they all had went out that night, and dude left his stuff in there and all of that stuff. Okay. At the time, I think I don't know if I really believed it, but I wanted to believe it because I didn't want to accept the truth because the truth hurt. So instead of me accepting what I seen with my own two eyes, I started covering it. And so her little excuse that she came up with is unoriginal and is plain as it was. I wanted to believe it. Okay, so I'm still running around. I'm still hurt about the situation, right? So I started praying about it. I prayed about it, and I was at work. I don't remember what day it was. Like I said, I worked midnights. I was at the factory at the time, and I was at work, and I recall still going through pain just even thinking about the situation. And like I said, I had been praying about it or whatever. So I remember talking to the Lord, you know, even in the midst of me working. And I remember it's so clear. The Holy Spirit said, "Do you really want to know?" I remember that to this day. It was so clear in my ear. Like, do you really want to know? Because it's going to be more pain attached to you knowing the full truth. And I said, yeah. So that was it. I got off work that morning and I was on my way home again. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me again and said, "Get off right here." That's why I say, that's why I really want you guys to, and I'm not finished with the Satan's voice. I'm not finished with that. That's serious. It's gonna be like maybe another three parts to that. But I really want you guys to, when you get a chance, go look at that because it's important to know who's talking to you. So the Holy Spirit spoke to me and it said to get off the bus. Now I could have been hard-headed and thought I was tripping, but I decided to listen. I said, okay. So I got off where I usually would not get off. And the Holy Spirit said, walk this way. So I actually started walking. Now, during the time that I started walking, I seen the vehicle of my ex spouse or whatever. I seen the vehicle. And it was just sitting right there on the corner, almost like they was waiting on me or something. So when I got to the vehicle, my children was in there with my baby mother. And I'm like, you know, and I walked right up to the vehicle and got inside. And she's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to go to school. I'm getting ready to drop them off at school. So I'm like, well, what you sitting here for? And she's like, oh, I seen you coming. So I was just waiting on you. Okay. So we riding in the car now, taking the juniors to school or whatever. And we got to the school and the mother of my child got out the car to take my daughter in. The junior, he was still sitting in the car with me. And I was hugging him or whatever and, you know, crying or whatever because I hadn't seen him like face to face in a couple months. So, you know, we just sitting back there and the junior was like, "Is you going to work?" And I was saying, and I told him, I said, "No," I said, "I'm just getting off work." And he say, "Oh, cause what's the name be getting up and going to work too in the morning?" I'm not gonna say this brother's name out of respect for him. So basically that's what he told me, like, you know, such and such get up and go to work too. And I'm thinking, what? So now the shoes and the boots started making sense to me why they was in the car, because this dude is going to work from wherever they living at. Okay. Yeah, so it started to make sense to me what was going on. So when she came back out to school from taking my daughter inside the school, I started to question her about it. Now, let me show you how messed up these spirits is. Instead of her admitting that she got caught in a lie, she got furious. Like what I tell you they do when with the crazy making thing. Like how soon as you start to question them, they start acting like they mad, and because whatever it takes to deflect any type of blame off of them. You know what I'm saying? So she went into a little rage or whatever, and I can't. Mother MF is out here questioning why would you questioning them and all that, and just trying to flip the story or whatever. Okay, so she comes up with another lie. I keep telling you, look at pathological lying. They lie like they talk. It's like it's their nature. So she came up with another lie on the spot. She came up with a story about how she met the dude, and this was some random dude she just met, and she ended up confessing to me that they were back living in the apartment in which I thought they wasn't living in. Cause like I told you, she had actually been picking up money from me for the children and all of that, but they was supposed to have been staying with their grandmother at the time, her mother. But the whole time she was down here squatting in an apartment that she supposedly had moved out of a month ago or 2 months ago. Now remember, I told you guys that when she told me that, like even the day that I first seen the van, I went up to the window and I looked inside. So maybe she was on the floor like SWAT or something like that, because there wasn't nobody in there. Listen to how deep this lie go, because I'm telling you, they don't have no limits to how far they go. This is a deep rooted lie. So then, as we talking about it, she began to shift the blame, of course. Something else you got to understand with triangulation and the other person that's involved, okay? They don't care about you or that person. You got to understand that too. So while you all emotional, getting ready to fight, and jumping out of cars and vans and going up to these women's houses and going up to these dudes' jobs, not realizing that the spirit don't care nothing about you or him. They using both of y'all. Okay? So anyway, she came up and she gave me this whole little fantasy, this whole little story about she was in the house one day by herself, and he was knocking on doors because he was trying to find somebody to charge his phone. Come on now. Let me tell you what's funny about that. See, so when I tell y'all that in a love bombing phase, that love is blind, you have to understand that, because if you listening to the story as I'm giving it to you right now, you probably thinking to yourself, boy, you stupid. Or you couldn't tell she was lying. No, I couldn't. And maybe it's not so much that I couldn't tell that she was lying. It was the fact that I did not want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that because when you accept the truth, you got to accept the reality of it. You got to accept the pain of it too. So this was the story. Whoever this dude was, he supposedly was just going around randomly one day, knocking on people's doors, talking about, can you charge my phone? First off, don't nobody do that. That's stupid. That's dumb. You not about to knock on no random people. You just gonna go on the block. Oh, my phone on 5%. Let me knock on everybody's door and find a charge, or somebody there let me charge their phone. See, so even the story was stupid. The funny thing is, I tried to roll with it because I didn't want to believe that I had been tricked, or that I had been that she was playing me for this long period of time. Okay, the story continues. Then she says, that they were squatting inside the home, and that wasn't nothing on in the house or nothing like that, which is crazy to me because I remember talking to her and telling her, what do you need as far as for the rent, or what do you need to get for a deposit to move it to the next place? Because at that time, like I said, I was working in the factory. I was making good money, and I never it's open. I never
You got the
what?
wait.
Yeah, so trying to find my thought. Okay, so continue. She said that she was squatting or whatever like that. She was squatting, and that the juniors, that my kids are squatting too. Now I'm messed up now at this point because um it was stupid to me because I had extended my hand multiple times, and I felt and I thought that my children was in a good spot, in a good situation. They was over there with their grandma, and they have an awesome grandma. I will say that she's an awesome lady. I'm not gonna say her name or nothing like that, but I thank God for their grandma. Um, so now she comes up with the story like they've been squatting, living in a house, no water, and all of this stuff. Now I'm hurt to my soul. Not so much as just a lie, but the fact that you got my kids living like this and I'm not living like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm down the street. I got heat and gas. I'm going to work every day. You still coming over to me picking up money that I'm thinking is being used for either bills or whatever. And you down here in this messed up situation. I broke down again. So at this point I'm like, what can I do? You know, because on top of that, she began to tell me the story that the dude, whoever this dude was abusing her, and now he was keeping her in the house and not allowing her to travel and go outside and stuff like that. Now, remember how part one I told you about triangulation, how they control both sides of the story. Even to this day, I have not met this brother. I never met this brother. My youngest brother met him before, but I never came face to face, or me and this dude still have yet to have a conversation with each other. Okay, so that was her story, that the dude was beating on her and whipping on her and you know, all of that. So I had to figure out how to get her out of that situation, of course, because my kids is there too. Now the place that I was living at was not my home, and there was barely enough room for me. So of course I couldn't do that. So I went to my auntie that same day. We drove to my auntie, and I explained to my auntie what was going on, and my auntie loaned me $800 on the spot. Like right then, right there. She gave me $800. Now this was a couple of weeks before the tax season, where the mother of my child was getting ready to receive her taxes. So I really just was trying to find somewhere stable for her for the next 2 weeks until she get her taxes and she can do what she wanted to do. Because she was telling me that, you know, she wanted to move out of the city, and you know, I know her father lived in another state that she was talking about going to too, because she had just got her license for you know, working in the medical field. So I borrowed the 800. Now the whole time in my spirit, it don't feel right. Something is telling me this just don't feel right, and I really did not feel comfortable borrowing the money from my auntie. And I told my auntie that too. Like, auntie, I don't know. You know, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, but my auntie, out of her love for me and the children, she did it. She gave us the whole 800. And I went and got a hotel room for them for a couple weeks, and I stayed out there too, and I went to work from there. Okay. In between this time, I just want to tell you, and I really do feel like this will speak to how low my self-esteem was at the time. During this time, she would frequently leave for hours. She would answer calls from this brother in front of me. Like that's how you know that a person really don't got no respect for you at all. And at this point, she had got me to the point where I felt like now I had to compete with him for her. And what was funny is when I left, I did not want nothing else to do with her. I knew that our time had came, that we were not compatible enough for us to stay together and be a couple. But the competitiveness of some other dude having her was enough to bring me back into the race. I know that sounds crazy, right? Because on my mom, I'm telling you the truth, bro. I did not want her. I didn't. I knew that I could have found something better. I knew that it was too much stress. I knew that I was being tormented while I was in this relationship. But the thought of somebody else coming in re-sparked my interest. So she running around, she disrespected me, doing all of these things while we living in this room, okay? So now at this point, I'm going out of my way to make her more comfortable than she was with this dude. But like I said, at the same time, she was still sneaking to the bathroom, you know, having little conversations. She'd leave and stuff like that, come back a couple hours, talking about she fell asleep in a Walmart parking lot and all of this crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. You know, I'm gonna just keep it honest with y'all. I was broke, not physically, because like I said, I was working, making good money. Spiritually, I was broke, man. I didn't know what to do. I was so hurt. I was really hurt to the point where when this sister would leave, because I knew she was going to be with him. I knew that. No matter what excuse she gave me, I knew that she was going to be with him. So when she would leave out, if I still didn't have the kids, when I got off work, I would. And then I was smoking at the time. I would roll me a little blunt or something like that, and I just sit there and cry sometimes. I know. But I'm trying to be honest with y'all. I'm not trying to. I want to tell y'all the whole truth. It hurted. That was a soul tie. Anyway, I remember one night in specific. Me and her was in the car, and I was getting ready to go to work. I went to work at 11 o'clock at night. And she was reading a text message because he was constantly sending text messages. And I could tell, you know, who text it was because she had one of them little ringtones. So anyway, I'm getting ready to get dropped off at work. I think it was Saturday. I had just, you know, took all of us to, you know, I had been buying fast food and stuff like that, buying, you know, getting my kids some more clothes, and I had gave her like $200 because one of my checks, like I said, I worked at a factory, you know, so one of my checks was kind of over what I thought. It was more like $1,100 or something like that. You know, so I gave her a couple hundred because I know she didn't have no money, and then you know, bought some clothes and stuff like that. I remember the text message came in and she was smiling. So I grabbed the phone and I'm reading it. And it was like, yeah, you know, go ahead and play house right now. But make sure you come back to daddy on Sunday or something like that. And what was funny was, I was wondering, why would you let me even read that? Because she didn't understand. She acted like she didn't know what was going on. Why you get so mad? He just said he about to see you tomorrow, right? So obviously this is something they had planned out. Anyway, she denied it or whatever. I ended up going to work. This was affecting me on my job too, because I'm constantly, while I'm at work, I'm thinking about what she doing. Okay, so the Sunday came around, right? And we was at the room or whatever. The room was only like 4 or 5 miles away from my job. It was like 13 miles or something like that. We at the room, and I had bought some Hennessy. I don't even drink. But love, that ain't even no excuse either. But my heart was in a different place. And I was drinking it straight. I'm like I don't even drink. So I had some Hennessy. Nice little bottle of Hennessy like this. And I was just drinking it, sipping out of it straight. So when I left, for her to take me to work, I left the Hennessy on the table by the nightstand. There was 2 beds in there because we had to have, you know, a bed for the children and then, of course, another bed. So she dropped me off that night. And I remember looking in the room before I left. So the next day when I got home, which is Monday, wasn't nobody there. I got there at maybe like 8 that morning or whatever, because I got off work at 7. that morning. And I remember looking around in the room, and it was nothing. Everything looked the same. I'm telling you, these people really think you stupid. Like, unless you can get past your love for them, unless you can get over your little jealousy, you still not gonna be able to look correctly at what you're looking at. Because it took a lot of abuse for me to catch on and be like, okay, you trying to play me. But it took so long for me to get there. Because I should have knew this a minute ago. Anyway, I come back home from the room. We had 2 separate keys. I'm looking in the room or whatever, and everything is the exact same. Now we got little children. We had the twins at that time. My twins is young, maybe one years old. So you know how they tear up stuff. And then my older daughter, and then Calvin. So when I got in, everything looked the same in the hotel room. The beds were still looked like they did when I left. Like one of them, the cover was still like folded down just a little bit. But this is exactly how it looked when I went to work last night. And common sense told me this is an impossibility with all of these kids. The Hennessy bottle was still there, but it was empty. It was still sitting in the same place. It was empty, okay? And she sent me a text that morning that said she had took my oldest daughter to school, and my twins had ended up waking up during that time, so she had to take them too. Okay? I called her out on that immediately. Oh, you lying. Yeah, you lying. You know what I'm saying? Because this room looked exactly the same. I don't know what you did with my Henny. You know what I'm saying? I think she had took the Hennessy and poured inside a different cup and probably took it over there to, you know, whatever the dude or whatever she was talking to or whatever, something like that. That's what I'm guessing happened. What's next? I got tired of her lying. To the point where when she came back, I told her she had to go. Like, look, no, you gotta go. You got to go, baby. Go over there, you know, because I'm tired of, you're not about to keep doing this. Like, if that's where you want to be at, go ahead over there. I'll say like another 2 days or whatever, because of course I end up letting her come back. And then a couple days later, she supposedly was supposed to go over there to be getting the rest of her belongings out the apartment. Anyway, long story short, she over there. I'm not hearing nothing from her. This is because she used to leave her phone in the car. Now, like I say about these spirits, like I remember she had like 7-minute phones, like, but they'd be locked up. So you had like one phone locked up in the car in this compartment. Then she'd keep another one all the way up at the top of the closet somewhere where you really can't see it. Kind of genius in a way, but you know they good. They just good at doing wicked, evil stuff. They good at being sneaky. So I remember I couldn't get in contact with her. Now, all of the abuse stories about this brother had crept into my mind. Now I had my youngest children, my twins. They was there with me, so I couldn't leave. My older daughter was with her. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't know what's going on with them. You know, maybe he holding them there or something like that. So I contacted my mother, and then my mother contacted my youngest brother, because they was closer to where I used to live at than I was. So my brother went down there. At the time my brother went down there, she was gone already, of course. He was still there. So when my brother went, he was kind of looking in the windows, you know, to see was anybody in there and, you know, what was going on. So the dude, like I said, once again, I don't know this brother. He came to the window with a AK-47 or something like that. I heard. I know it was like a chopper. It was an assault rifle. And he basically was like, you know, what is you doing looking in my window? or looking in his window. And he basically told him, like, my brother sent me down here to, to check and make sure that, his daughter and the mother of his children was okay. So the dude knew who my brother was. He's like, oh, you such and such brother, huh? Wait right here. So he takes off, he run around the corner. My brother just sat there on the stairs. And I remember because my mother called me and said, your brother said, what do you want him to do? And I told my mother, tell him he can leave or whatever, because they wasn't there anyway. So he ended up leaving. I'm trying to remember this. Like I said, this was like a year ago. Long story short, we back again in the hotel or whatever. We getting ready. I'm really trying to take you guys through the process as it happened instead of like piecing together parts of the story. Okay, so we back at the room. Okay, there we go. We back at the room. Now she getting ready to get her tax money or whatever. And she told me, like when I get my tax money, I don't want to stay in the city. She wanted to move outside the city. Now what's interesting is the place that she decided that she wanted to move was the same city that this dude that she was messing with, he was from that city. So I asked her about it. I said, okay, like I understand you want to move and you want to try to use your medical license in a different place, like, but why you got to go there? And she like, well, it's just a good place. And I knew she was lying. I knew she was going down there to meet up with this dude or whatever. At the end of the day, let me tell you the last straw for me. And the reason that I don't want you guys to let triangulation get you locked up or shot or killed, because the spirit don't care no more about you than they care about the other dude. I just want you to understand that. And a lot of the times, even the person that you competing with, even the sister that you caught him cheating with, that's not the only one. You know what I'm saying? So don't get yourself killed because you emotional and you want this demon all to yourself. I said that. You want the demon to yourself. They don't care about you. They don't care about the other person. They don't care about the other three people. And in case you forgot, I think I told you this and that is a part of that story that I could tell, but I'm not going to tell that out of respect for her. They don't use protection with none of their partners, okay? They nasty. Yeah, I said it. They nasty. And a lot of them, they run through diseases. They run through them. And what they do is they take care of it under the table. They sneak off and go to the doctor and get their little pills or their little itch cream. Me personally, all praises to the Most High God, I never caught nothing from nobody, ever. I have never had any sexually transmitted nothing. Not saying that I had more discipline than anybody else. It's just, I think the Lord just spared me because I done did stuff that I wasn't supposed to do and stuff like that. Anyway, here go my point about triangulation, okay? It's nothing you can do about it because these spirits, they are never going to be satisfied with you. Okay, you have your purpose for them in their life, and other people have their individual purpose. So it's no point in you being upset with these people because the only reason that they involved is to make them spirits feel better and for somebody else for them to control. And for the most part, they are telling the other person the same thing they telling you. Like, you know how I said that she was telling me that the dude was beating on her and abusing her. Now, the reason that this brother had had the weapon at the window when my brother came down there, it's probably because she was telling him the same thing about me. Oh, my ex crazy. You know what I'm saying? He put a gun on me. Something. I can't imagine what she said, but I know she said something that was a lie. Because like I said, they control both sides of it. So the way that I was feeling like he was abusing her, that brother was probably feeling like I was abusing her too. You understand what I'm saying? Because once again, controlling both sides. Let me tell you what how I figured out that I was being stupid. Here you go, right here. I'm in the hotel room, right? We in the hotel room. We talking about the situation. And I looked at her, cause I think I was serious at the time. I looked at her dead in her face. I said, "Look," I said, "if I kill him, this is what I said. I'm trying to be honest with y'all. I said, if I kill this brother, then can me and you be together?" She looked at me. She looked at me dead in my face, and she said, "Yep." She said, "Cause that's the only thing keeping us apart." A light bulb turned on right then. It kind of hit me because going through the up and down with her, she was coming back telling me, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like him more than I do you right now, and all of this little manipulation in the brain thing. And then, so if you really got love for this brother, why would you want to see me kill him? Cause like I said, that's kind of what cut the light on for me when I asked her that. I'm telling you, I was serious. She could tell I wasn't joking. I say, if I kill him, can we be together? She said, yeah, because that's the only thing keeping us apart. So at that point, I understood that not only do she not care about me, she don't care about this brother either. I had to understand that. And that kind of did it for me. That kind of sealed the deal for me. I understood that it wasn't no way I could win in this situation. I understood that what I thought was a reality and how I could fix everything was all an illusion too. It was nothing I could do about it. This was who she was, and she was going to be who she was, regardless of what I did, what I didn't do, what this brother did, what he didn't do. And the whole triangulation thing was just another form of torture to play with my mind. To this day, I still ain't never met this brother. But I can tell you one thing about it. I don't believe that brother was beating on her. I don't believe that brother was keeping her hostage in the house. I don't believe nothing she told me about him. It was just a form of triangulation. Her controlling the communication between both sides. And what's funny is she had me and him at the point where if we would have met, we'd have killed each other. Cause he was on speaker one day and I told him, I said, bro, you if anything happened to her or anything happened to my daughter, I'm gonna kill you, brother. That's what I told him. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. I'm not trying to lie to y'all. And like I said, I don't feel like he was a bad brother at all. I don't know this brother, and I don't know what she was telling him, how long they had been together. That dude might have really been in love with her, and he might not have knew that I was in the picture. Even though I believe he did, because I ain't even gonna get into that. It's not important. But at the end of the day, the only person that win from triangulation is the spirit. They the only one that get gratification because they love to see somebody competing over their I'm sorry, Lord. They like to see somebody competing over them. It makes them feel special, like they feel like they should be treated. They feel like you should be in competition for them. They feel like they are the prize, and you know all of that stuff. Okay. The point is, don't get yourself killed. Trying to fight over these dudes that really don't care nothing about you. Same thing with the women. They don't really care about you. And I'm not talking about every situation, but if the person you love pulled their little panties down, I'm pretty sure they knew they was putting their little panties down. If the dude you was with sleeping with another woman, his drawers ain't magically fall down. Okay, yeah, you gotta be using more common sense than that. And like I was saying in the Spirit of Anger video, have more respect for yourself. Value yourself to the point where you don't feel like you got to compete for one person, okay? Because that's how I am. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, ain't none of us special. Don't none of us use the bathroom and gold bricks come out or nothing like that. But you do gotta have some type of self-value to value yourself enough to know that, okay, you're not the only person out here. It's somebody else out here for me that I don't have to compete with this dude for, compete with this woman for. That's the goal of triangulation. The goal of triangulation is to torture you, and is to give you a false perception that you getting ready to lose something that was good. But like I said in the beginning, I ain't even want her no more. I had been tired of this situation for a long time before this brother stepped in. All that happened was it brought out my competitive spirit as a man. I got a competitive nature. And now it was more of a competitive thing where I'm like, oh, this, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, he ain't got nothing on me, and look at him, whatever. You know how we get stuck in our own pride. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not. If you going through one of them situations right now, they don't care about you or that person. I'm just letting you know. And whatever they sitting down, laying down, telling you, they telling that person the same thing. And then you trying to call and talk to that person one-on-one usually don't work either, because they done already told these people you crazy, you off, there's something wrong with you, they don't want to be with you no more, and all that crazy stuff. Okay, so let it go. That's my point. Let it go. Don't put your family in jeopardy, or don't take a chance at being separated from your kids or something like that because you in prison, because you going over there fighting somebody or done killed somebody over somebody that don't care nothing about you, that's going to be sleeping with the next person after you get your 25 to life. Okay, that's my whole point. I pray that this video reaches whoever is supposed to reach tonight. If the Lord gives me any more insight or anything else that maybe I can bring about to help you guys understand this side of triangulation, which is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday side, then I'll definitely follow up to this. So I'm going to be doing a part 2 of Satan's Voices too. If you haven't seen Satan's Voices, I would recommend, that if the Holy Spirit leads you to watch it, you should watch it, because everything starts up here in your mental. Every attack, every setup starts in the mind. Every action starts in your mind. Before you get ready to do something, you have to think about it before you actually physically carry it out. Okay, so I want you guys to pay attention to that and take a look at it if you get the chance. Okay, so until next time, pray about it. That's what I leave you with. Pray about these situations. Don't try to attack the person on the outside, because, like I said, in the spirit of anger, they don't have no connection to you. They don't have any loyalty or bond to you to tell you what your man doing or what your woman doing. Leave them people alone. They just living their life just like you. You feel me? They don't have no responsibility to you. That's between you and that person. Okay? So we're gonna end it here. We're just gonna wrap it up here. And like I said, a deception, not deception, but Satan's Voice Part 2 is gonna be done. Hopefully I can have it done before Tuesday or Wednesday. So I will let you guys know then, okay?